Good morning. This is Jacob, and I'll be reading Psalm 18 this morning to you. And, share some practical insights, and I hope you enjoy. Uh, Psalm 18 is a Psalm of David, and it goes like this. I love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised. I am saved, and I am saved from my enemies. The cords of death encompassed me, and the torrents of ungodliness terrified me. The cords of Sheol surrounded me. The snares of death confronted me. In my distress I called upon the Lord, and cried to my God for help. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry for help before him came into his ears. Then the earth shook and quaked, and the foundations of the mountains were trembling and were shaken because he was angry. Smoke went up out of his nostrils, and fire from his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed he bowed the heavens also, and came down with thick darkness under his feet. He rode upon a cherub and flew, and he sped upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his hiding place, his canopy around him. Darkness of waters, thick clouds of the skies. From the brightness before him passed his thick clouds, hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. He sent out his arrows and scattered them, and lightning flashes in abundance and routed them. Then the channels of water appeared, and the foundations of the world were laid bare. At your rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils, he sent from on high. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they were too mighty for me. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth also into a broad place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands he has recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his ordinances were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. I was also blameless with him, and I kept myself from iniquity. Therefore the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his eyes. With the kind you show yourself kind. With the blameless you show yourself blameless. With the pure you show yourself pure. With the crooked you show yourself astute. You save an afflicted people, but haughty eyes you abase. For you light my lamp. The Lord my God illumines my darkness. For by you I can run upon a troop, and by my God I can leap over a wall. As for God, his way is blameless. The Lord is the word of the Lord is tried. He is a shield to all who take refuge in him. For who is God but the Lord? And who is a rock except our God? The God who girds me with strength and makes my way blameless. He makes my feet like hinds' feet, and sets me upon high places. He trains my hands for battle, so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. You have also given me the shield of your salvation, and your right hand upholds me, and your gentleness makes me great. You enlarge my steps under me, and my feet have not slipped. I pursued my enemies and overtook them, and I did not turn back until they were consumed. I shattered them so that they were not able to rise. They fell under my feet. For you have girded me with strength for battle. You have subdued under me those who rose up against me. You have also made my enemies turn their backs to me, and I destroyed those who hated me. They cried for help, but there was none to save, even to the Lord, but he did not answer them. Then I beat them fine as the dust before the wind. I emptied them out as the mire of the streets. You have delivered me from the contentions of the people. You have placed me as head of the nations. A place whom I have not known serve me. A people whom I have not known serve me. As soon as they hear, they obey me. Foreigners submit to me. Foreigners fade away and come trembling out of their fortresses. The Lord lives, and blessed be my rock, and exalted be the God of my salvation, the God who executes vengeance for me, and subdues people under me. He delivers me from my enemies. Surely you lift me above those who rise up against me. You rescue me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks to you among the nations, O Lord, and I will sing praises to your name. He gives great deliverance to his king, and shows loving kindness to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever. This is a beautiful psalm, and David is sharing what has happened in his life, and I want to point out the few descriptions of battle armor, and David's references to that a lot, and he's continually talking about the Lord is a shield about him, and he's also a refuge to those who take refuge in him, and just a shelter and a safe place. And I want to turn to a verse that really spoke to me this morning. Verse 19, Psalm 18:19. He brought me forth also into a broad place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. A broad place is a place that is there's no enemies around. David has conquered his enemies in this situation. God has delivered him from his enemies, and he's in a broad place, meaning there's not much in front of him. There's not people attacking him with swords and chariots and trying to take down his life at this moment. And that description of a broad place, I think, covers that pretty well. And that verse really speaks to me. And also verses 10 through 19. I don't know, the first part of this psalm, it's a long psalm, but the first part of this psalm kind of describes to me that the Lord will go to any length for his kids. And in the picture and the examples that we have of hailstones and coals of fire, his voice gets the stuff done. And the Lord thunders in the heavens, hailstones and coals of fire, thick clouds, channels of water. The foundations of the world were laid bare at your rebuke, O God, and a blast of the breath of your nostrils. And this tells me that if God is for you, who can be against you? That verse is so dogmatic in the culture around here, around us, that but this is a beautiful description of how the Lord defends his kids. And David cried out in the first part of this psalm, and then he described what the Lord did and how the Lord did it. And if you've ever, verse 7, the earth shook and quaked, and the foundations of the mountains were trembling and were shaken because he was angry. The Lord got angry here and went to bat for David, acknowledged his struggle and against his enemies, and went to work. And we've seen we've seen a description of these weapons that the Lord uses in reference to Psalm 7:13. And so if you go to Psalm 7:13, it says, he has also prepared for himself deadly weapons. He makes his arrows fiery shafts. Uh, those are descriptions of the Lord's uh, deadly weapons. And if you've ever been around a lightning storm where lightning is just all over the place, it's a pretty awesome experience. It's pretty amazing, and I just love the fact that David is crying out and declaring who God is in his life, and he's a rock and he's a refuge, and gives us a beautiful description of how the Lord took care of situations in his life, and and that's just really beautiful. Um, how the Lord went to battle for him, and one verse that I'm noticing continually in going through the Psalms. If you haven't seen any videos, I've been going through one psalm at a time, chapter by chapter, and sharing some insights. But verse 30 in this psalm says, "He is a shield to all who take refuge in him." Constantly, David is talking about how the Lord is a shield to those who take refuge in him, um, and yeah, it's a safe place in the Lord, and yeah, and David is constantly giving praise to the Lord, and we see that in verse 3. I think is a pivotal verse here. It says, "I called upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies." Um, the Lord is worthy to be praised, not a man. We need to be worship God, not man. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Trust in the Lord, and praise the Lord, and he's the only one that can handle it, and he's the only one that's worthy of praise is the Lord, and David's God here, and my God, um, and and praise is a reflection of the heart. It's an outburst and of what's going on the inside of a human. And David here is praising the Lord, and he's and I don't think he would do that. Um, he might, but I don't think he would do that to the degree that he is here, because he's witnessed and seen enemies in his life go to destruction and dissolve, and he's in a broad place on verse 19, and broad place is a place where there's it's open, and there's freedom, and I see that David I see David is in that place because the Lord did his handiwork and in his life, and yeah, so I hope you're blessed by Psalm 18, and take it to heart, and this is Jacob, and have a great day.